Hey, good evening, guys. It's Ariel from Mecha, and thanks for joining us to another episode of Mecha Live. Tonight we have a feature builder episode, and we are going to be featuring the works of Merritt Filban, a really cool modeler extraordinaire. He's also in the video game industry. You probably played some of his games for you guys out there. I had a pleasure of meeting Merritt in person. We hung out a bit. Last time was during a local convention. I know, right? We had local conventions. Does anybody else remember what the conventions are? Hit me up on the comments there. We will be talking about him, his background, his work, current projects, future projects, and thoughts about the industry. Shout out to everyone in YouTube land and on Facebook Live joining us tonight. Hope you guys are doing well. So what we want to do right now is probably go and say hi to Merritt. Why don't we go and see what's going on?
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, Merritt. Thanks
nice to be here.
Thanks for coming to the show. How is it going?
Yeah, it's going great.
Awesome.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no. So I was just talking to these guys, to you about what the show is going to be like and the stuff we're going to be talking about. But lots of stuff. Like I think the first time I met you definitely is from one of our local communities. I saw some of your work. I believe the GM was probably one of the first exposure to what you were about, and more so lately you entered and placed on the Great Canadian Build Off Event 1 that happened a couple of months ago during the lockdown. So
yeah, it was super fun.
Awesome. And again, welcome to the show. Quickly, why don't we go to the hangar? I call this the hangar where we are right now, nice. But really we're going to go to the featured work area and maybe talk a little bit about you. For those those who don't know you as well, can you tell us a little bit about yourself, what you do for a living, and what kind of hobbies you're into?
Yeah, for sure. I guess like most of us in this particular community, I grew up a huge nerd, definitely a big love for anything with robots, eventually anime as well. Although nice. I didn't know, I was watching anime when I was young as well.
When you were watching anime, like I saw some of the images here, and it's a focus on Beast Wars, Transformers, Robotech, and all that stuff. That's really cool. Which one of these shows would you say resonated the most to you?
I think narratively, and it's still a huge love for me today is Robotech, or the proper way to say it, Macross.
That's right. Awesome.
But yeah, like that just hits huge nostalgia points for me. Just I love everything Macross.
Nice. And did you do anything with that love? What are you doing now? What is your occupation?
I do have some kits on the burner for that, but with translating all of that love and love with games as well. Eventually decided to go to college to study video games. So after that, I started in the industry about, I think, around 2008.
Okay, yeah.
Or no, sorry. I graduated in 2008 and started in the industry, I think, 2009 or 10.
Nice.
At Bungie, and then Silicon Knights, and then the company I'm at now, I'm at Ubisoft Toronto.
Awesome. Oh, and my audio is on. I knew I forgot something. Awesome. Introduction. So we have your Ubisoft Toronto logo right now. Like, what do you do at Ubisoft Toronto?
Yeah, I'm a senior texture artist, and I basically handle anything related to making new textures and materials, applying them to building structures and props.
Nice.
And then helping the rest of my core team.
And I have a couple of video games here that I think that you were part of. Can you describe some of these things for us?
So these are games I've worked on. My first was Halo Reach at Bungie, so that was a pretty exciting experience.
Love that game. Played the crap out of that. So yes.
And then my next was on a pretty small team in Niagara at Silicon Knights, making X-Men Destiny. Many of whom I'm still working with now at Ubisoft Toronto. And then the first game I worked on there was Splinter Cell Blacklist. So that was a pretty huge production, but it was a fun team to work with.
Nice.
Then Far Cry 4, which was pretty cool. Lots of great work. Like that was super fun to make.
So I got a couple of images here from your Far Cry games. I got Far Cry 4 here. Really cool. Love the detail on this one. So like, all of these level textures is like under either you've done or under your supervision, correct?
Right. Yeah. Like these first initial ones is definitely a smaller team. There's a lot of it was, there's some stuff that other teams worked on as well, and other artists. But this whole level was primarily under the supervision of 2 artists and a level designer. So
Nice.
like I got to touch a lot of stuff in this map. So it was kind of cool to be involved more than just textures. I got to do like level art and planning, and so like there's a lot of cool stuff to.
Lots of cool stuff, and very detailed as well. Like, if you guys have played Far Cry 4, shout out to this man right here who brought that environment to life. Awesome.
Yeah, Shangri-La was fun.
Right now we're looking at an image here of what looks like a structure of a house or like some kind of residential. What are we looking at here?
This was on Far Cry 5, one of the buildings I'm kind of most proud of. Did a lot on that game, but this one definitely resonated with me. I'm actually from Montana.
Yeah, that's another thing too. We were talking about this. So Merritt here, like I've known him in the Canadian scene more so, but I did not know that he was originally from America. Like, what is your history from that coming to Canada briefly?
Yeah, I grew up in Montana. Very small town, like 3,000 people. So it's definitely a big jump going from here to like Toronto and other large cities. But yeah, like it was cool on this as well. Like I got to go back with a team of other texture artists and capture actual textures and references on location in places that I was growing up, like visiting every summer. So it's kind of a surreal experience, remaking things that I'm very intimately aware of what they are.
All right,
and I think we executed them pretty well.
Did you actually go and take photos on site and kind of like, hey, I'm going to use this type of branch?
Yeah, me and fellow artist Ian, we walked into that hotel, took a bunch of pictures of the inside too. So like we pretty much replicated the interior as well.
Oh, nice, nice.
So it's very similar.
So I got just a couple of things here. Like it looks like sample of like texture that you applied on some kind of cylinders. Is this like
what? So
this
is some of the like material work and surface work I would do to then apply to structures and props on the game.
Nice.
So that's
Oh, it looks cool, man. Like that's very like, it's kind of interesting how like 2D can pop in a 3D environment, but like all we know is just literally it's a skin on that and play of light kind of deal.
Exactly. Yeah.
Nice. Next one here. You also traveled, so this looks like when the RX-78 was in Japan. That's really neat.
So that was 2015, I think. My wife and I decided, okay, we should just go to Japan. We've been talking about it for a long time. And I think we were watching something with like David Chang on Netflix. I'm like, okay, let's just go.
Nice. And then just like, saw it. Did you actually touch it, or how close did you get to the Gundam?
I don't know if I actually touched it. I walked through it and all around it. Like I took a ton of photos and stuff.
Okay.
So.
I've yet to catch someone that actually went and go bloop right on the the Gundam. Nice. Awesome. Next one here, you have a lovely family. You got some photos of your kids here. So you're a dad of 3, right?
3 kids now. Yeah.
Awesome.
So I've got Calvin and Orion. They're just turned 3. And Luna, she's 4 months now, so very busy household right now.
Oh, and I remember that. I think that's around the same time we met in person at the convention, because like that would have been like the same time.
She was on the, like almost coming out.
Awesome. All right, we're gonna get into some of your work. I have some 3D printer here. Do you dabble as well on?
Yeah, so that's another hobby. Like it's kind of Gundam adjacent, and it's kind of like halfway between Gunpla and my stuff at work is. Taking 3D art and making
actual 3D models. Nice.
The middle one was some print from another artist I found, but it's like a really good example of like trying to see what I can do with that printer and getting used to it. So
right on. So aside from that, do you have any other hobbies you got going on that's not Gundam or 3D related?
Not a ton right now. I occasionally play games, but I also just like improving my shop. Like that's a hobby in and of itself, is improving the shop, getting tools and supplies, and trying new things. Like
awesome. And
whether it's for Gundam or not.
We're gonna talk about a little bit more on your social media stuff in a bit, and how you have been doing videos. Why don't we get into some of your projects here real quick? We're starting off with the GM. I think this is the first image that I saw your work for the first time. I think, anyways.
So, this is my first painted build.
Nice. And why did you choose the GM? Like what? Actually, before we even get to that, real question
For
here
sure.
for you. Real question for you, Merritt. What is your first kit? Do you remember your first model kit, your first Gunpla?
I don't know the exact kit. I probably actually bought a couple because I lived in a small town, and so
Yeah.
to get anything, I had to go like an hour and a half away.
Oh, wow.
To buy stuff. So I think it was at like a GameSpot or something.
Okay.
But they had Gundam Wing kits, and they were like no scale, like 144 kits, like they're really flimsy, like
No grade, kind of like
Yeah,
144. You know what's funny?
Yeah.
You, myself, Andrew, I think are on that same age range or like that same time exposure because like I too was in the wing genre. I think they're around the same time you probably
North
are.
American wave,
Exactly.
Yeah.
Awesome. What after that, like which kit, if you remember, made you want to continue, or like what type of, if it's a mecha kit or a model kit, to continue on developing this hobby?
Yeah, briefly. So just to go through, like, throughout high school until like maybe a year before I graduated, because I got into Magic the Gathering, but so couldn't spend on both. But
Yeah.
I was buying like a lot of Master Grade and stuff from like 0083 and 8th MS Team,
Nice.
and like Char's Counterattack.
Oh, you're a big UC
yeah.
fan, eh? There we go.
Yeah.
You went from like wing to
Wing,
yeah. Let's go
and
for
then-
some realistic stuff.
Exactly, yeah.
Awesome. Let's get back.
Um,
Yeah, go on.
And then basically went to college, stopped building Gunpla for a long time, but I started seeing like people making like resin builds and stuff. Like,
Yeah.
that just sounded so cool. Like they looked awesome. So that kind of pulled me back in the community, and I had some kits. So eventually decided I want to start making physical things again and not just digital.
Right.
So like actually having physical things that I make in the house sound like a great idea. So I thought like the gem, the ARC 79G is definitely a favorite of mine, and I felt it was
Nice.
a good like springboard to start on.
And you did well.
so-
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks. I still enjoy this build. There's not a ton that I don't think I did wrong. There's some stuff, like there's some gaps on the head that aren't great, and I think I took a Dremel to this guy to do weathering and stuff. I probably could have sanded those a little bit better.
Lots of learning stuff. Like, yeah, I want to
Yeah.
focus on this build right here. So the GM, this is the first one I remember seeing from you. Lots of
Yeah.
details on this, lots of weathering. Is this the first time you also weathered a kit?
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, the only other I did like panel lining. That was the only thing I did in high school was panel
Just
lining.
panel line, snap fit, and all
Yeah.
that. So what were your first, I guess, struggle when you were starting off detailing this kit? Like, was there anything that was a big
That was
learning
definitely
curve?
my first venture into scribing as well.
Oh, nice.
So like kind of messy scribes, and like too big.
Big
as well.
big gaps, so they're not to scale and all that. Wow. Okay, lots of learning stuff here.
And then it being brittle.
Did you do
from,
anything? Sorry, go on. Brittle
I
from.
was saying it's been brittle from some of the paints and thinners and stuff, so I had to be pretty careful with some of the parts.
Nice. Did you do any type of customization on this?
Not so much. I think only just some custom panel scribing.
Nice.
Very few, but just kind of getting my feet wet.
And speaking of getting your feet wet, the next one here looks like a Zaku.
Yeah.
What's the story on this guy, sir? Is this your second attempt at it, or is this further along down?
This is my second build. I definitely I wanted to set out and do paint chipping, so I did like the hairspray and salt technique on this guy.
Nice.
Eventually, I realized that not quite to scale.
It is different, right? Like when you're trying to paint something that's like 4 meters, yeah, but like 16 meters, sorry, tall,
Yeah,
and you're trying to get like these chips. They're gonna look like you're peeling off almost like a cardboard off the skin.
Yeah, so some of the minor ones are okay, but like some of the parts where I went too aggressive was a bit much. And then there's a couple parts I don't like. This is definitely a learning curve. Like I should have done more with like the visor. Like it looks really bad.
I mean, the thing is, like with weathered kits, like you could always hide some stuff, but like the details actually came out pretty well on this one. Did you do anything other?
Parafilm.
What's that?
It was my first attempt at using like parafilm for masking.
Oh, okay,
So
cool.
I removed the seam line on the I painted the inner frame, and then I removed the seam lines on the thighs.
Yeah.
And then pulled the parafilm out, so like those are permanently
Oh, inside
over the
there
inner
now.
frame. Yeah.
Hey, if it works, it works, and nobody sees
Yeah.
that. Speaking of your works, this is a bit of a deviation. The next couple of photos here, animals.
Yeah.
We have a really cute penguin here. What is going on here, man? We went from talking to Mecha, now we're here. What's our story? What's going on here?
Yeah, so a couple years ago, like when we were, my wife and I were first pregnant, I wanted to make some penguins for them. We ended up having a miscarriage.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I still wanted to finish these. Thank you. I still wanted to finish these, and I did. Like I felt compelled to finish them. I think I had it already 3D printed, but I wanted to like also experiment with casting and molding. So I made a bunch of copies and sent those to family members. But
oh, that's awesome. So this is your first like major 3D print project, would you say?
Yeah, I had one earlier one before. If anyone knows the Neverhood, the old like clay game back in the 90s, I did one of the characters called Hoborg.
Oh, nice.
He's just like a simple clay character, so I sculpted it real quick and just had it printed somewhere else, and then I still have it. It's not even primed, or it might be primed, but it's not painted.
Oh, I'd like to see that finish when you get a chance.
Yeah, and there was also like an attempt at making parts that have like pegs and joints and stuff.
Nice.
And then the whole casting and molding process as well is like a whole different world.
So you actually 3D modeled this, right? Like I'm just looking at the next slide here. Wow, that's awesome.
I used ZBrush and did some quick sculpting and some lines, and then broke up all the pieces and then had it printed.
Now, a question for you for 3D printing and all that stuff. But like, this is every time when it gets printed, the quality is still the same, or do you start seeing a deviation from like the initial batch to say the 4th or 5th one?
Oh, from the casting?
Yeah.
It depends on how like the mold is set up. These ones are like they're not 2-part molds, so they have just like one seam line go down. They don't have like a continuous seam line.
Right. Okay.
Like you might start seeing some degradation, like if you're trying to pull it apart and it rips. But I think for the most part they were okay. It was just definitely some sanding and some gap filling to be sure. So it was a little aggravating on the little tiny parts, but I eventually got there.
Awesome. Yeah, really, it turned out really good. Now with the color, did you hand paint these yourselves?
They're just all airbrush.
Wow.
Another reason I did it in the parts as well is like I just wanted to be able to easily put these on sprues and then
start painting on them. Right on. The next couple of photos here are what I believe are foxes.
Yeah, there's a fox and a tiger.
And a tiger,
so that's for my 2 sons, Calvin and Orion.
Nice.
So I want to do another project for them as well. So I thought customizing some petite guys would be a cool thing to do, and experiment with epoxy sculpt and stuff.
Now you're gonna start them real young and start getting them into model kits and printing. I see it.
Yeah, they're already into like Transformers and stuff. One of my sons is.
Oh, awesome! Parenting done right there, guys. Take some pointers.
I think he's watched almost all the Transformer kid shows on Netflix right now.
That is awesome. Like, it's always good to have like, you know, something that you enjoy and your kids would enjoy too, growing up. Really good example of that. So just I guess, is this the same process with this, or is it like a more customized? I'm looking at you're using the petite guys now for the body, right?
Yeah, so I just took some of the parts and added some epoxy sculpt and sculpted like the snouts and the ears and stuff. I tried adding a little bit of like plastic armature inside so that there was like some kind of guide and structure, so it wouldn't just like pop off the flat surfaces.
Oh, nice.
So just and then some pins as well, but not too heavy on the customizing. But it was definitely a cool thing to learn, like a new product as well. I think Abe's epoxy sculpt.
So that is like a more cement sculpt, is it?
Yeah, it's like it's a 2-part sculpt. It's basically like a clay putty, and
nice.
Eventually gets harder and harder.
Okay, wow, lots of stuff here, guys. We are gonna do a quick break, real quick here, and we will be back with Merritt in a couple of minutes. Hey everyone, hope you're enjoying the stream so far, and thank you for tuning in. Now, if you're into Gunpla and Mecha as much as I am, or would like to know more about Mecha and Gunpla in general, I'm actually part of an amazing online community called Side 6. All the information you'll need to find Side 6 will be part of the description of this video. You could check us out at facebook.com/groups/side6, on Instagram at side6_mecha, And for any future information or news, you could check out our website at www.side6.club. The community is amazing. Lots of like-minded people that are into the mecha and gunpla, sharing works in progress, and pretty much talking about the hobby and everything related to the mecha and gunpla lore. So hopefully you get a chance to check us out. We're always open to new members of all skill levels. And yeah, let's just keep getting the community moving forward. All right, thank you for that. And why don't we go check out the arena, see what's going on there. Hey, welcome back, guys. And welcome back, Merritt. For those of you guys joining us just now, we are joined by Merritt Filban, local, I guess, modeler, local video gamer here in Ontario, Canada. Lots of stuff to talk about still. And continuing on with our, I guess, show and tell of your work, we're going to go ahead to your current projects here. From the looks of it, it is the, what is it, a modified Sazabi? What's going on? What's going on here? What is going on?
So this is dipping back maybe I think almost 3 years now. It's like been my perpetual side project. It's basically finally being completed and recently. But so the Sazabi WRLD. If anyone knows the WRLD from the from Zachary his podcast.
Nice.
They were joking and came up with an idea of like maybe a Gundam could just be a box with a gun on it and some engines. So this was kind of my interpretation of that, taking the Sazabi and distilling it into like it's like iconic and like forms into a small package. So I just kind of riffed on that concept and just kept customizing it until I thought it looked cool.
Nice. No, it's turning out really well, and lots of details in this. And like, what's some of the parts that you used for this?
Yeah, most of it is from the Sazabi itself. There's a couple parts, I think maybe from like the, there might be some boxes from the heavy arms, and trying to think. Yeah, most of it is just either scratch built or from the Sazabi. There might be a couple small parts from like the GPO2 master grade.
Oh wow, lots of parts there.
Yeah.
Is there a due date for this? Like, where are you submitting this, by the way, or is this like just a gallery piece?
So I've got, it's 5 episodes so far on YouTube. So it'll be the 6th and final episode, hopefully within the next coming weeks. Just have to finish editing it, but
nice.
Yeah, it'll be done and get to move on to brighter and better things. But it was definitely a huge like learning process, but it was well worth it in the end, I think.
Awesome. And speaking of YouTube and I guess Facebook and all that live, I just want to take this time and take a look at what's going on in our comment section. I just want to do shout outs to everybody that has made it into the live show. Shout outs to Nicholas, Kaz. We got Josh in the house. Sin. Hey Sin, how's it going? Simon Lamb, Christopher. We got JB joining us. Louise. Andrew Hilton Wig. Man, we got a lot of former guests coming here. Check it out. Here's from Ryan Lau. Yo, Merritt. It's a big shout out to you on that one. Andrew, also good for using bases. He has a lot of comments here about, I want to hear him talk about this thing in particular. So maybe we will talk about like your bases and all that stuff as well in a bit. And a couple of more comments here. Ryan loves your Sazabi interpretation. It is beautiful.
Thank you.
Andrew, the most logical interpretation of what a mobile suit should be. Lots of stuff here. And again, Nicholas just saying wow to this. So that's what's happening on Facebook Live. YouTube is a little bit on the lower side. Just want to say, hey, what's up to YouTube? How are you guys doing over there? Yeah, so again, good stuff on this Sazabi. It's looking, What's your thought process when you were doing the color schematic? Like, did you go through different iterations of color?
Yeah, I actually did like I might even tweet it out or just ping some people, but I threw out a bunch of color schemes that I thought would be cool, but I just kept coming back to like the blues and the whites and the oranges, basically a kind of camphor color scheme, like one of my favorite mobile suits. But
nice. Yeah, I could see that.
Really like that color combination.
Yeah.
It was either that or probably going to end up being like traditional Sazabi colors, but I think I like the blue.
And what we have right now on the screen, looks like your whip in progress. So these guys are all the pieces that Merritt used from the looks of it to form his logic, Verlogic Sazabi. Looking good. So I guess this is the Ka version Sazabi, right? Or is this the 1.0? Holy cow. See, this guy is not joking around, guys. That is a Verka put together in this tiny little nice package of a Verlogic. Looks
very,
great.
Very condensed.
Oh man, what did it feel like when you first cut that Sazabi in pieces?
Well, thankfully it's my old Sazabi, like the Master Grade 1.0. So, like I wanted to use it for something, so I figured it'd be a good use.
Nice.
I got the other one reserved for the Infinite Dimension. So.
Oh, and we are going to talk about that a bit, and I think in a bit, the Sazabi, the other Sazabi, right? Yeah. So here's some more pieces for that, and wow, that's a lot of stuff, really detailed. Like, wow. When did you start your project for this one? Just out of curiosity.
I mean, it was shortly after they talked about it on their podcast. So it might have been like 2.5, 3 years ago, and then like having 3 kids in the middle of that made it just kind of kept pushing it back. But it's definitely finally done now. Like. I also made sure to like if there was something I wasn't happy with, like I was like, no, just
go back to scratch,
redo it, and make it look good. Otherwise, you're just gonna keep looking at it and be like, why didn't I do that? Like, just do it. So,
yeah.
So I just make sure to if there's anything like that to just go ahead and
no, I'm just saying that is a really good message there. Like, just fight your fear. I was talking to Nicholas about that earlier today, and I'm just saying, like, we were just both in conclusion that like maybe you should just like dive in, you know, just to see what it's like, get rid of that fear and kind of just go with it. Like, go with your gut and just do it, because like the more you stare at it, the more it collects dust in the shelf and whatnot, the more you're gonna forget about that. So good on you on doing that, man. And we got like a primer version of it. I love primer shots. I think this one is very beautiful.
I was kind of like heartbroken that I had to like paint it after this stage, because I love the primer stage. Like, it's one of my favorite parts of the building process.
Yeah,
like,
that's when
the way it looks.
Yeah, that's when you start seeing everything come together. Right. Yeah. Awesome. Next one here. I think a lot of people have seen this recently. Not just in Canada, but I'm talking about worldwide. This is your Stingray. This is your entry for the Great Canadian Build-Off Event 1 that happened. I believe the contest ended around March? No, it started at March. It was May. Something like that. It's been a while. Event 2 is on live right now. Check it out. Great Canadian Build-Off. Facebook community.
Excited to see everyone's work there too.
Check it out there. So the Stingray, this guy here, this is an RG build. This is the RG Zagok.
Yep.
And you've done a lot of work on this one. So can you talk a little bit about your process on how you got this to look like this?
Yeah, so like I was really compelled by like the idea of the contest just to do an out of the box build. It's like I thought it would be a nice breath of fresh air from like all the customizing stuff I've been doing. I had to try and customize it a little bit, at least within the paint
respective
scheme and
guidelines,
like, the quality and stuff. Yeah. But hopefully within the spirit of the contest for sure.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, like I wanted to experiment with some hand painting, like some patterns, and experiment with like surface quality. So I ended up using some I think Mr. Color 500 primer, and just used like paintbrushes and toothpicks and stuff. Toothbrush, I think, like
just to give it that texture. Like, you're almost like pasting something. You're basing it with like all these like primer, because like I think we had a conversation about that. I actually ended up getting a primer thing like that because like I want to test out with what you did. I want to pick your brain after this. Next here is like your color scheme. Very, very interesting choice of colors. What was going through your design process when you were thinking about the color scheme for this entry? Yeah,
it was just kind of happenstance. I think like I was going through some I think my first initial idea was like maybe some like detail around the arms, like kind of like a Maori pattern or something. But I can't remember exactly how it happened, but I eventually just thought like manta ray, and then I looked up stingray, and I'm like, oh shit, like this is what I need to do.
Yeah.
I saw the colors and the patches, and some of them had like blue spots as well. So like, okay, this is like a good like palette to pull from, as well as like the pattern, and it fits like the underwater theme.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just, like once I saw it, I was like, okay, I'm gonna do that.
Once you commit, it's
Yeah.
go time, pretty much.
Yeah, exactly.
Right now we have a side-by-side comparison of what the RG looked like stock, and it was the Char version of this one, and then you repainted it to the Stingray. Good colors on this one, and oh man, like, how difficult was it when you were going in there for the, because like there's so many little details on this. There's the circle details, there's the airbrush fades, and there's like, you know, like the forced shadows and all that stuff. Like, what do you think? What was going on when you're painting it?
A little bit nerve-wracking too, because like I don't have a ton of experience with hand painting. It's like I want to brush up on those skills.
Yeah. So, what like, colors did you like? What do you know? You have a particular brand of paints or like material you use for this guy?
At least for the airbrush stuff, I've primarily used like Mr. Color lacquers, and then all clads for metallics, and then I kind of wish I had some other brands of acrylic to do the hand painting for this, but it was just Tamiya Tamiya acrylic.
Okay, yeah.
But like I think maybe something a little bit more forgiving, like to erase and like build up, would have been maybe easier route to go. But again, like I learned that on this one, so that's something.
How many dots would you say is on this? Like, I'm just looking at it. It's like so much.
Several hundred dots, I'm sure.
I
did the black, and then the white afterwards, and then.
Oh man, lots of stuff. See that, guys? Patience and perseverance wins the race. All right, and this thing placed, was it second place on the small scale?
Yeah, second place is small scale. Yeah.
Awesome, congratulations! It was a really good build. Thanks. And when I said nationwide, it's funny because Simon Lamb, he's the guy that I was talking to about it, and he showed me a screen cap of a Twitter feed all the way from China and Asia side, and they were all praising it. It's like, oh, look at this crab.
That's pretty cool.
Like, and so it's kind of cool. So from a Canada side to a nationwide, and that's the power of social media. You can reach so many people that way, and hopefully people that are watching this during the live show or even afterwards, check out his work. Lots of good stuff here, guys, from Merritt.
Thanks.
Speaking of good work here, we have a line art for a Gyaradoga Heavy. What is going on here? What did you draw this, by the way?
Yeah, there's some parts that I got pulled from like line art and stuff, like overlaid on top. Like, I'm not the best illustrator. That's definitely a skill I need to brush up on, but like I was just trying to get the my vision across before I started like digging too deep in some of the details. It's definitely one thing like maybe I need to improve on is like I try plan too much before I dig into something, and I don't love it for a long time until I find something like, okay, now it's working. Now I can go in and add those details that the forms that I want.
Real question here. I'm just gonna pull up to the side before we get too knee deep on that one. I just want to take this time, and then there's some couple of questions that are popping up on on YouTube, and I kind of want to dabble a bit on that one. They're asking here, like, since you're working on the video game industry, that is so cool. What are some of the skills that were transferable between what you do in 3D? What you do in 3D versus what you do in 2D painting? So I guess they're asking for is like, you know, how does your work with 3D translate to 2D? Like, do you have any transfer? Like, do you find like that it's almost the same working from a 3D to 2D environment?
I think it can be. Like one thing, especially with like scale model painting. We're trying to capture like realistic surfaces, and that's something that's like my job. Like I need to study this surface. Like for a painted metal, I need to know like the type of paint it's on.
Yeah.
Does it have primer? What's the base metal underneath? Can it rust? If it is rusting, like how long has it been rusting? Is there dirt being accumulated on it? Dust, scratches, like nicks from boots, or like it's just finding all those little details and layers to incorporate to make it more real. And I think that definitely like studying that stuff helps out with the scale modeling, because trying to get like a realistic surface on things, especially for like weathering too. I've got a lot to learn. Trying to absorb more from like the almost the tank scale model realm to pull for like, because those guys are like super good at at realistic weathering.
Detailing and also the scale of that. Awesome. Oh, thanks. That's a good comment, and hopefully that answers that one. Let's go back to our viewing here. And again, I just want to make sure we're acknowledging everybody in our streams: Facebook, YouTube, TV somewhere, satellite, whoever's like the aliens that are freaking getting our signal right now. Those guys. Awesome stuff here on the whip. This is now we're looking at the Gyaradoga's legs here.
So this is like an earlier, a little bit earlier pass where I was just kind of freeforming. So like I was trying to push this method of using kit bash parts and blue tack and just throwing shapes together to see like, is this working? Is it not working? And I kind of fell in love with like the huge like monster feet on this guy and like giant thrusters. So that's definitely the route I kind of went with this guy, and not necessarily going to use like some of these details in the final version, but it kind of gets me to a spot where I'm more happy with it.
And lots of parts here. We're looking at like a couple of the Gyaradoga's the main body, but can you describe what are the red pieces? What are some of the white pieces? Where are you pulling these guys from?
Yeah, so mostly these are parts from like the GPO2 master grade. And I liked the little toes, so I made them articulate. I think I flipped them upside down or the different direction to make it look more like toes. Adding thrusters on the back. Added a way to attach that like red kneecap piece with a magnet and
like blue tacks and all that.
Yeah, so I'm like learning like, okay, Legos, that's a useful like connection tool as well. Like it's basically acrylic or styrene, like it sands and glues just the same, and so it's definitely something you can use.
Awesome. See, their artist uses any material they have, and it really resonates. All the people that have featured so far have like this weird quirk or like a weird material that they use, but it works. I believe, for example, Cindy, she was using some of her makeup, for example, as dust effects. Andrew was using, woodwork and laser cutting. It's basically what you're able to do, and you guys, use that strength to produce all these amazing stuff here. Good use of Lego, good use of the blue tack, lots of stuff happening. Next scene here, it looks like white pieces. Are these like sanded down pieces? Like, what am I looking at here?
Yeah, so this was like me trying to figure out, okay, now that I do like the forms in blue tack, like how the heck do I translate that into like a finished piece? So like that was kind of the part that took me a while to kind of figure out, and still is a struggle sometimes, but I basically built like a second piece to the side with the same parts, and then used some plastic and stuff as a guide, and filled in the rest with putty, and then sanded it down and get the shapes that I like.
Awesome.
And then one of the other ones, like I literally put the plastic on top of the blue tack and tape, and then the putty, and then remove the blue tack afterwards.
Just to check what's going on between that. So this is how far you got to this project. You're still going to continue painting. Do you have a color scheme yet selected for this guy here?
I don't have an exact color scheme, but it's definitely going to be a ground type, like desert. My initial like story idea was like I wanted this to be a Gyaradoga that was recovered by the Zeon remnants, and then maybe retrofitted and used in the Attack and Torrington base.
Oh, nice.
Gundam Unicorn, because like that's such a cool scene, like all those desert mobile suits that are kind of hobbled together.
Yeah, so, absolutely.
Like, that's kind of the sort of inspiration for this.
Just a couple of things from our live feeds here. I just want to say shout out to everybody on YouTube right now. Nevergirl Vince, Neon Wave, welcome to the show. A couple of comments from them. Vince here, great builders are customizing potentials in everyday objects like pens, empty bottles, and stuff.
I've got 2 boxes down here with random stuff like baby bottles and lids and stuff like
everything.
Yeah.
Exactly. From Facebook, hey Kayla, thanks for joining us. Ryan Lau, so beautiful. Simon Lamb here, I'm looking forward to seeing this build take shape. And from Quinn, hey Quinn, how's it going? Now Quinn here has been watching the AO Mecha live since day one, since day zero. So shout out to him, very big supporter of this. And I mean, everybody who's watching right now, thank you so much, guys, for tuning in. From him, damn, those are smooth panels. You are a smooth criminal, my friend. Speaking of smooth criminal, our next one here, I think this one is a customized Gelgug. It's a white Gelgug here. What's the story on this?
Yeah, so it was a little while back now, but I was approached by a brand new store called Masamune Studios. John, hey, how's it going?
Hey, John, what's up? I hope he's watching this at some point or form, you know? So...
yeah, so he wanted to help me make a build, so it's like, hey, I'll sponsor a build for you. It's like, okay, cool.
Nice.
That sounds awesome. So, like, this is kind of the idea I had, so...
and walk us through. So this is a customized Gelgug, or is this based on a Gelgug? Is this like completely different, or is this based on a MSV type of Gelgug?
So this is the Uma Lightning version Gelgug, but the end result, I guess, my headcanon story is this is something that Char would have been working on or had built and customized for him during his early time at Axis after the 1 year war.
You're right.
So somewhere in BC 80 to 83, somewhere in there, and they're just using it as like a test platform for other technology. So I wanted to incorporate some stuff that you might see in Zeta or Advance of Zeta. So there's like hinting at some stuff in there. So like I'm trying to like incorporate some in-universe stuff to guide like my design ideas. And then there's an artist on I'll have to link it later, but there's an artist on Twitter and Instagram that I really love, and I saw like their rendition of the Gelgug, and the shoulders and chest and skirts like looked awesome. So it's definitely gonna be a riff on some of those parts, like especially the shoulders. Like there's like extra thrusters and stuff, and it looked so badass that like I had to kind of go on that route.
One thing that really stood out here is like these two containers at the back. Are those supposed to be ammunitions, or are those supposed to be fuel tanks?
They'll probably be fuel tanks. I'm not sure on the final direction of those, but the only part I don't have pictured here is I'm gonna have like larger skirt thrusters, almost like the GPO3, the Stamen. Yeah, it's got like kind of like larger skirt thrusters on the side.
Nice
design for those that I've been
like tinkering with. So, yeah, nice. Awesome. And hang on, what's the next one here? Oh, okay. So we are gonna get to some, I guess, some questions as well. The next part here, and this is, I think I asked you this because like a lot of the questions here is like, what is your studio look like? So guys, Merritt here just showed us what his studio kind of looks like when he's working on that. Can you walk us through some of the stuff that we're looking at here?
The studio?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I've got for my main bench here, it's basically my building desk. I put a pegboard on the walls coming in here. Yeah. So I wanted to mount everything up. Got the backlog and all my supply stuff there. There's another desk right behind me. That's my painting station. So
right
it's got
on.
The spray booth, the airbrush, and all the painting supplies. A bunch of drawers with paints and stuff in them. And then my photo suite behind me there.
Yeah.
And I installed a new desk off to the side for my 3D printer now, and then I'm getting a second 3D printer soon as well.
Awesome.
But, yeah, that's kind of whole battle station down here.
Well, thanks for sharing us your workspaces, guys. If you guys are ever curious about Merritt's workspace, here it is. We are going to do one quick break, and after this, we're going to have some like an interesting side topic here. I think we're going to be talking about like some tips, advices, and kind of just like workflow. So I am looking forward to hearing your perspective on this, and Merritt's going to be driving that home. So we'll do a quick break and we'll be right back. Hey, what's up, guys? It's Ariel from AO Mecha. I just want to let you guys know about all my other social media outlets if you haven't had a chance to check them out at facebook.com/AOMecha, on YouTube, youtube.com/AOMecha, on Instagram, instagram.com/AO_Mecha, on Twitter, @AO_Mecha, and on Discord, fairly new. That one is AO_Mecha, #3414. Anyways, hope to hear from you guys. Through any of those platforms, feel free to DM me or PM me, as well as emailing me. My email is aomecha.info@gmail.com. Just want to let you guys know that this episode is brought to you by USA Gundam Store. Please check them out, www.usagundamstore.com, and save on your purchases when you use my discount code AOMecha10. All right, let's get back to the show and see what's going on there. Hey, what's up, guys, and welcome back to another, show of Feature Builder. Tonight we have Merritt Filban joining us here in the Mecha hangar, kind of just hanging out, looking at some of his stuff. Really good stuff that you've been showing. Amazing work. I really love the customizations, the process. I really love seeing the whips and all that stuff. Going back into the photos here, the next part here, you gave me some choice words, and I think I want to let you kind of control this. Like, what are some of the stuff that you want to talk about for, I guess, people that are trying to get into the hobby, either be it the beginner or intermediate or even advanced? I think these are some of the stuff you wanted to convey to our audience tonight.
Yeah, I just wanted to add a couple things for maybe self-improvement. First, the one I just wanted to talk about was not being afraid to ask for constructive criticism. Also, participating in constructive criticism. That doesn't mean bashing on other people's stuff, but I think just being truthful about how someone can improve, and asking this is not quite the level I want it to be, but I'm not quite sure how to get there. There are tons of modelers out there, with so many different skills. Use them as resources. I'm sure they'll be happy to help you and lend you an ear and rip apart your work and tell you how to do it better or how to do it different. So.
Awesome. Yeah, and that's definitely a really good message to convey. Don't be scared. It's always good to improve yourself and use your friends, your resources, because they're gonna give you. I don't think anybody good and willing will put you in a path that is negative. So no. Good words on that. The next one here is visual design. Visual design. What can you say about visual design there, Merritt?
I think these are just some things to keep in mind, to maybe help improve your work. My first thing here is just I use Pinterest for reference material. It is an incredible tool. If anyone doesn't use it, please use it. I've got a ton of different boards for specific details or generic details. It's an amazing tool.
Yep, and we're looking at here different boards, lots of how do you? Yeah. So basically, do you have any duplicates, or do you actually separate them all individually?
They're mostly separated out, but there's probably some crossover between them. There's some that are I want to see just grunt suits, or just Gelgoogs, or just backpacks or guns, or
absolutely.
Because if I'm trying to design something, I want to see a bunch of different similar-esque things, and so just make a new board and throw a bunch of stuff in there.
It's cutting off magazines for those sample photos. So when I was, and totally segueing and not trying to interrupt here, but as an artist, I used to figure drawing because I wanted to get into comic book industry, but because I couldn't afford going to classes, or I couldn't afford going to life drawing classes and whatnot, I actually found old magazines, or fashion magazines that a lot of these stores throw out. 7-Eleven, convenience stores and whatnot, and I would look at figures and I would cut references out and then put them in a folder, because later on I'd be practicing looking at it, looking at proportions. So it's almost the same thing but in a digital format. So Pinterest, guys, really good resource for you guys to use. Check it out if you haven't, and start making your own boards. Actually, send me a comment either on Facebook or Instagram. Show me what you've been collecting on your
I'd be
boards.
Super curious.
Tag myself and tag Merritt here. We'd love to see what you guys are up to. Awesome stuff. Next one here, use of artistic principles.
Yeah, so this is definitely a way that a bunch of different things you can use to make your builds or your paint schemes more unique and interesting or realistic. So stuff like storytelling, the way it was weathered or something kind of alludes to what happened to the thing before.
Yeah.
Balance of detail and material surfaces, being able to have a bunch of matte and then make some metallic and shiny surfaces, balancing that out. Knowing when to lean into symmetry and when to lean into asymmetry. Again, that also helps out with your silhouette. So it'll make your art and your Gunpla more unique and interesting. It'll help it read as well. Using contrast and variety, again, variety in surfaces, variety and contrast in your paint and color schemes, or leaning the opposite too and going like 90% like one color and like a tiny bit of like
an accenty color.
Colors. Yeah,
nice.
It's like knowing when to like how much of each of those like in proportion as well, like changing like how tall or how short or stocky something is, like really will make it read differently. So
awesome.
These are all like just general art principles that you can use and apply it to Gunpla.
That is amazing, guys. Right there, Art 101. That's like a free college level, university level, professional field level sound advice from Merritt here. Next part here, we have design and purpose. So this one is interesting.
Because sometimes like if you're adding detail and stuff, you might not know what to do, or you're just kind of winging it. But if you can kind of like give yourself some sort of internal logic, like, okay, these details are maybe going to be like part of some sort of heat sink system, or these are energy cables like running to a thruster or some other part of the suit. Like maybe this, I have some panels here because they want to open up this part of the suits to repair it. So like, and like having latches or something, or little handles, like those little small elements will help it more be realistic and
to scale, if anything, really.
Yeah, scale too as well. Nice. And then pulling details from actual like real world references, like that way you don't have to guess. You can just kind of see, oh, that's how they make a hatch, and that's like it's already designed. So like might as well use like leverage that knowledge.
Absolutely. And again, full circle, all these stuff here, again, similar for me. I use Pinterest for a lot of that stuff. Like I would look up tanks, and you'd be surprised on how many tanks are on Pinterest. Look up bugs if you're doing any type of bug type mecha. Actually, bug mecha is a sub freaking category altogether. There's so much art and media out there that it's up to you to actually, it's there to gather for you and utilize for your builds. Awesome stuff here. Very, very solid. I wouldn't say last part, but I think we have some here for, this is now regarding the Gundam universes. What can you talk about the Gundam universes here? Well,
as you already alluded to, I'm a huge fan of Universal Century.
Wait. Since you're talking about you see here, real question. Okay, real question, and this is, I'm pretty sure everybody's wondering this. Zeons or Fetties?
Ooh, probably Zeon.
Oh, Zig Zeon right here. Did you Zig Zeon today? Awesome. Okay, Gundam universes, please go. What do we got?
Yeah, so I think one of a cool tool to use, like I was alluding to that with the Gelgoog build, but using some like in-universe design constraints. So like it's not to say that you can't like break those rules, but it's a cool like limiting like area to play around with, like helping you with like creativity, like putting you in a small box and like, how do I get out of this box? Like how do I design myself out of this box using what's available? Like if it's in like this sort of time frame of the Universal Century, like what technology was available? Like if it's early, like 1 Year War, you're not going to have transforming mobile suits or experimental
like really, really massive suits. Because I think at the time the Barzam would have been the biggest earlier ones for the non-Gundam whatever, because Advance of Zeta was still in production before the 1 Year War, sorry, after the 1 Year War, and Zeonica on that. That's awesome, man.
Yeah, like, and then they just have a huge history of like mechanical designs. Like I just am a huge fan of like seeing those charts where like you get to see all those like the design flow from like prototype Zaku all the way to like a Gelgoog and all the different design iterations in between. Like and it goes beyond that too, like throughout the Universal Century itself, that you can pick out like, oh, the legs on the Kshatriya, those are like kind of similar to the Double Zeta or like the Queen Mansa, like they're like mixed and matched and like used in different ways and stuff. So like it's really cool. Like you can kind of track the visual language back the lineage.
It's like almost like a family tree of where, you know, the descendants are to that.
And if it's not explicitly listed, like you could just see the designs are similar. You can have some sort of, you can just kind of guess like, oh, that they either copied it or they just use that idea. Like it's really cool.
Awesome. Yeah, no, that's good point on history. And now here, the last part here on this sentence, really interesting. I want you to explain me what's going on with this right here.
The design legacy.
Hell yeah, it's effing cool.
Yeah, it's fucking cool. Yeah, I'm just a big fan of all that stuff. Again, why I'm a huge fan of the UC.
And right now, what I have here, Merritt, is we were just talking about that, like the whole legacy stuff. So I have a photo of kind of like a sample of like the development, and this is what your point was, that like if you are doing any type of design and if you want to do a variation of it, this would be a good example of like how it originated from, I guess, like a simple mobile suit, and with upgrades, redesign, repurposing, recoloring, it changed the whole thing into a completely unique kit altogether, and you could trace its lineage back to its original.
And this is, you could also use this as a platform for like, okay, I like those legs, I like those feet. You can just mix and match them or something like that too. Like, and then it, like, they'll be somewhat cohesive because they're all kind of from the same era. Yeah. But like, it's a cool design trick. Or
awesome.
to use.
Awesome. All right, so those are all sound advices. Holy cow, you just gave us a nice art lesson, Gundam lesson, history lessons, all that and above. Guys, that is Merritt Filban right here. And Merritt, before we go to our socials and all that stuff, let's go check out what's happening in our socials right now. Someone joined us, John C, on YouTube, and a Neon Wave, a comment here. Criticism is the public's way of indirectly helping you improve. It's criticism that good Scott Cawthon to create Five Nights at Freddy's.
Yeah, okay. It's like it's definitely a useful tool. Like we use it every day at work. And it's also just getting someone else's eyeballs on your work, because you're working at something like this. Like, and it's healthy to like either you step yourself back, either literally or figuratively, work on something else and come back, or get someone else to look at it and be like, I'm too close to this. Tell me straight, like, is this going in the right direction? Or,
exactly.
Like, is there something, can I improve here? Like, it's definitely very useful to have.
And unbiased opinions are always good to have, especially when you're getting criticized. So on our Facebook Live, we have Maxwell joining us. We have Danny Chavez joining us. A couple of comments from, let's see here. Andrew, I love that ceiling mounted camera rig. Very jealous.
Cool. Yeah, I just installed that recently. It's basically just some pipes from Home Depot with the 2 pieces of wood, and they just kind of slot into my unfinished ceiling. Yeah. So I can just move this camera now back and forth.
Awesome.
So pretty cool.
That's a good rig. Last here, I think Ryan Lau, he's saying, yeah, those are great tips. Very good points about the silhouette. So lots of good feedback coming back from our live audiences tonight. Thank you, guys. Speaking of audiences and social media, I think, I guess, where can people find you? Like, what's your... Well, actually,
so I've definitely been trying to hit the YouTube channel for a few years now. I don't post maybe as often as I would like, but I really enjoy the content I make. I try something new every time I make a new video. So hit me up on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook.
Awesome. And all of his addresses to all of his social media platform are in the description of the show, both in YouTube and Facebook. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button for all his stuff. Guys, follow him on Instagram and all that. Before we go, though, Merritt, I have a couple of more questions here for us. Yeah. We're just going to go back to our hangar side-by-side. Get some side-by-side action.
Cozy.
This is from John. You're working with him for the Gelgug. It's like, talk to him about his professional expertise and how much of its transferable skills to Gunpla. And I think we covered that. So that was kind of a variation of the question somebody else asked earlier, and really good points on those, like how you pay attention to the details and translate that to a 2D medium, I guess, if you say.
Yeah, it's the same thing with like improving like the YouTube channel and stuff, like just getting better with like teaching people at work and stuff. I actually taught a texturing class last summer for a couple months, so that was a cool experience as well. So
nice. And Mike Skyers just came in a bit late, but he wants to say hello. Another featured builder. I have all the featured builders here tonight. Thank you, guys.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
This is awesome.
Appreciate it.
A couple of more questions. Hopefully, we're going to get through this. From Simon, maybe ask if his official visual art training to be working. What? if he has official visual arts training to be working in CG. Did you actually went to like an art school or?
Yeah, I went to the Art Institute of Portland for 3 years. I've got a Bachelor of Fine Arts in game art and design, and then I've been in the game industry for about over 10 years now. So
right on. And lastly here, actually there's 2 questions. One, hopefully we'll get through real fast. One is asking about like, what's your take on GBWC winners textures? Do you have anything that stood out from the GBWC last year, 2019 entries, or even like past GBWC entries?
Oh man, there's a lot, but this year there's some cool ones. Like the tank from Italy was pretty rad. Nice. It's definitely very different, and I'm glad it like got to like
place. Yeah,
like, it's definitely Gundam Universe, like that's cool. I think, well, obviously Tim and Nick's builds, like those are amazing.
Yeah.
Huge inspiration. And then I think the Australian winner, like
that's the blue samurai one. Yeah,
that one's pretty cool too. Like the various like surface types and stuff, like the flat armor, and then like the highlights of the metal and stuff was like really cool. So
awesome.
Yeah. And
I guess that will be it, because the rest of the questions are kind of a variation of like, how do you use your skills from your 3D and CG background into practices of model making. We'll just do a couple more rounds lastly on our social media, and then we are going to try to close this up. Cool. From Andrew, 2 of the guests work in the video game industry. That's right, Mike Skyers works for Warframe. And on our YouTube channel, we have Never Grown Vince. Any thoughts on the Zaku design as a Gundam in the Thunderbolt manga?
Like I've only seen it like in the actual the anime version, so I'm not sure if there's any difference or not. I think it's interesting. Like it's almost more of like a NASA take on some of the mobile suits. Yeah. So it's like definitely a breath of fresh air.
Awesome.
The one I don't like is I'm not a fan of the Atlas. But everything else I think I like.
I'm gonna have to scratch that off my like backlog builder now. Thanks a lot. And then the last person I think that logged in, we got Gunpla University joining us on YouTube here. All right. That was awesome, Merritt. Thank you very much for coming in.
It's awesome being here.
Yeah. Find him on his social media. So YouTube.com/Merritt Filban, Instagram.com/Merritt Filban, Facebook.com/Merritt Filban. There we go. Awesome. Any last words for our viewers tonight from you?
Just check out AO Mecha Live on Mondays, Wednesdays, Saturdays on Facebook and YouTube.
Awesome. And that's right, /AO Mecha, guys. A new builder episode, backlog builder this Monday and Wednesday, and we'll be back with another feature builder next Saturday. Merritt, thank you very much for coming in tonight.
Yeah, it was fun. It was awesome.
It was awesome. You brought in a lot of materials, more so I think the tips and tricks and the voice of reason to how to approach stuff. I think it's my highlight for this. Cool. More of this and all that, we will be uploading this video as an archive on YouTube, and if you missed this show, feel free to catch it again on those channels. Okay, Merritt, I want to say good night for now. Thank you for coming by, and we'll chat soon. All right.
Yep. See ya. Thanks.
Okay.
Bye.
Okay, so that was Merritt Filban, guys. Amazing builder, amazing 3D texture guy, very knowledgeable both in craft and knowledgeable in Gundam lore. Guys, check him out on all his social media feeds. And I guess just I've already said the heads up on the next couple of episodes. Again, I'm streaming Monday, Wednesdays, and Saturdays. And now with also a coffee break session that I will probably incorporate around Thursday, Friday, the latest. New stuff, short segments on that, and lots of new content. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button on my channels here. And all of the my links as well are on the description. Guys, hope you guys are having a wonderful Saturday. Thank you for spending time with us tonight here at AO Mecha Live. And until next time, hope you're doing well and take care. See ya.